Okay, welcome back to Bare Metal Machine. I want to show a little example here of how to reorder the entities in your CAD model. Now, imagine we're going to machine the interior of this part, so maybe we're going to climb mill around, going counterclockwise around all these entities, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is set the tool size, 3/8. I'm going to hit the Find button in order to find the first entity, because that's where I want to start. Okay, so I'm going to get the cutter up close to that entity, and I'm not going to get real picky about the radar because I'm trying to show a different point here. So then I'm going to start feeding this way, and where do I want to stop? I want to stop when I'm touching that line. So I want to be able to hit the next or the previous key and have that line show up in radar in red, right? It would be highlighted in red because that's the next entity, right? And it's not. It's this line up here. I hit the next key, next. Look, the entities, they're all over the place, okay? And you know, you can't be hunting for the right entity, right? You want to just be able to hit the next key and have it show up on radar. In fact, there it is. I just hunted for it. And so now I know I can, stop when radar equals 0. Now I'm on that line, okay? And then I'm going to feed this way, and I want the next entity to be like this arc, or maybe a point at that washout point there, okay? So I know where to stop. Then I want the next entity to be that line. It just happens to be that line. I got lucky. Okay, so, and then I want the next entity to be maybe this line, right? And it's not, it's this circle. Okay, so you see the entities, they're all in the wrong order. I want to be able to just go from one entity to the next, so I always know, where to stop. Like, for instance, I would want this line to be the next entity, so I know when I'm exactly touching it. And I'd want maybe this arc, or maybe that washout point, to be the next entity, so I know exactly where to stop. Then I want this line to be the next entity, so I know, when I'm exactly past it, right? Like that. So you want to be able to just go next, to, go from one entity to the next, so that you're never hunting around for these things. Okay, and so there is a solution to that, and I'll show you. Okay, so back at the CAD workstation, remember this little app here, the CAD transfer client that we use to send the part model out to the shop floor. Well, it does a lot more than that. One of the main things that it does is allow you to reorder the entities as they appear in the CAD database, in the DXF file actually. All right, so I know a lot of CAD systems out there will allow you to do this to some extent. I think they're used to prepare files for laser cutters or plasma cutters, things like that. TurboCAD doesn't do that, at least the version I have. And besides, we want actually a little bit more control than that. So what we can do with this model, remember this is the model we've been working with, EX1, layer EX1 from example 1. So we can go to reorder, and we can just simply start clicking on these entities in the order we wish them to appear, and so that when we hit the next or previous buttons to highlight the next entity using radar mode, that the entities appear in the order that we like. The order that's going to suit our machining strategy best. And we're done. So I can just save the file and send to display server once again. And let's head back out to the shop floor. Okay, so back out on the shop floor here, we're at the display file server, and you can see indeed that it is announcing that it received a file from the desktop, EX1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to refresh the files, then I'm going to go over here to the host files. I'm going to drill down to find that file again. There it is, EX1. And then over here in the display files, I'm going to overwrite the file in that same location with the new version. Okay? All right, now let's get back to the machine. Okay, back to the machine now. Let's try again. So we're going to go to Tools, set that to 3/8. Okay, hit find the nearest entity, and that happens to be where we want to start. Okay, so once again, I'm going to bring the tool up close to it, and I'm not going to be going crazy trying to get radar 0 on all these entities, just for the sake of expediency. Okay, so now I'm going to be feeding into this corner, and where do I want to stop? Next, I want to stop at that line. So I want to go to radar 0 on that line. Okay. Now I'm going to feed down towards this arc. Where do I want to stop? I want to stop at the arc. or at a washout point at the intersection of that arc and that line. Okay, so we stop there. Next, now I want to stop when I'm exactly on the other side of that line. Right. Okay, feet along there. Next, now I want to get myself right on this line. Okay. And I'm going to go previous. I'm going to go back into this corner and just kiss that corner radius. Okay, next. Now I want to stop when I'm on that line. Okay, I'm going to feed this way until I'm in this next corner. Next. Right. Next, I want to stop when I'm exactly on the other side of that line. So when it goes from negative to 0 or positive. Right there. I'm feeding across there. Next. Now I want to stop when I'm touching this line. And previous, I'm going to go back into this corner and just clean out that corner radius. Right. Good. Now I'm going to go this way until I'm touching that line right there. Go next. Now I want to feed up until I'm exactly on the other side of this line. And when radar flips to 0 or positive, that's my target. Okay, good enough. So I feed across there. Okay, so hopefully you get the point. Now that the entities in the model are in the order that we want, I can just use the next or previous keys to go from one entity to the next and get them on radar so I always know where I'm going and where I'm stopping. Okay, so you see how they're all in order now. And don't critique my machining strategy too harshly. A lot of ways to approach this. But that's what I wanted to get across, is how you can reorder your model to match your machining strategy. Okay? Thanks for watching. See you next time.